Yo, yo, yo. So today we're doing something a little different. I had made a R3D tutorial on how I like to edit stuff um, a month or so ago, and people seemed to like it. I not only say that because it had quite a few views. And then my friend Brian messaged me earlier today and asked a few questions on how I set my timelines up with NLOG, and it's the same for NRAW. And I told him, you know what, let me just make a video real quick on how I do it, and that way you can reference it if you need it. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to make a video, I might as well make a video. So I ain't going to talk a lot. You ain't going to see me on this one a whole bunch. I hope. I've tried to do this before. My screen recording did not work. So, all right, we're jumping into Resolve. I'm in Studio, the latest version, the newest update. New project. I'm just going to make this thing Resolve tutorial NLOG NRAW R3D. That's it. You can name it whatever you want. You probably want to know that part. I'm just going to walk you through all of the steps that I do. First things first, file, project settings. I think mine almost always reverts to 1980, HD. I don't shoot anything in HD, so I don't know why it is this way. So 4K timeline here is how I start this off. Jump down to my color management. Always DaVinci RY. Oh my gosh, YRGB. That's one of those days. And my color space, my timeline color space is always DaVinci wide gamut intermediate. And my scene is Rec 709, but it's 2.4. I read somewhere that is best for max. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've always used. So that's what I'm using. And then if you scroll down, so if you're looking, in your LUTs table or your lookup tables section here, I always have this set to trilinear. Also, saw somebody do it, and I've done it ever since. I don't know why, but I do. It works. One thing I want to make a note of real quick: if you are shooting RAW, it always defaults here to RE-log, RE-RAW. So I'm not going to change this right now. I mean, I guess I should. I'm going to just change it to red, even though I'm going to make the timeline with Nikon NRAW as well. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what you do if you shoot both, if you're including both timeline in one timeline, both resolutions, both RAW files. But this is just, I figure Nikon owns red. Let's just do it, go with the best. Just run it. Save that, stay your timeline saved, import, Command I. I'm gonna try to grab a clip of Nikon NRAW and a clip from R3D. So I know I've got something here from the ZR, which I love, by the way. Get a reference here real fast, sorry. Some of these images I don't love. There's one or two I thought was kind of cool. Okay, that's fine. So 880, what I'm looking for here. There. R3D, we got one of them guys. I'm not changing it. I'm just gonna leave it the same way. Oh yeah, I know it's huge. My little Mac Mini don't like it sometimes. If you don't run off an external hard drive, you can't run a Mac Mini. And then for I did a review on my ZR recently. If you haven't seen that, it's over on the channel. I'm just gonna grab. Let's just grab one of these B-roll shots. That'll be a lot easier and a lot less intense. All right, one of each. Super simple. I'm just gonna grab them both and just throw on the timeline, slap them down there. Doesn't matter where. Obviously, if you know what you're doing, you'll edit these to fit. You'll cut them, clip them, however you want them to be. And what I like to do is I always like to color grade my clips in full and then cutting them down. That way, if I end up needing to insert stuff, I'm not having to grade them multiple times. I just have it and then I can cut it down and just be done. 5 nodes. That's all I use. Option S. 4 times, you got 5 nodes. I always make the second to last, which in my case is almost always node 4, my CST, my color space transform. We'll get into that in just a second. I'm just going to label all these. If I use a LUT, which I almost always do, but if I use a LUT, it's always in 5. I always like to use option 1 as my exposure tool, and that could be exposure and curves. I don't like to put them always together, but for this tutorial, I think it'll be absolutely fine. And this one could be, and this could be anything you want. It could be skin, but I don't have any skin in this, so it's just going to be color. So if there's some specific colors I want to adjust, it'll all happen in 3. So go to your color space transform, option 4 here, hit effects, it's top right hand corner, upside lightbox. Scroll down to the Resolve FX colors. It's the 4th one down, color space transform. You're going to just drop and drag that onto option 4. The box is automatically going to populate. So this particular file is R3D, as we can see here. So we will change this to red wide gamut RGB. Our input gamut will be 3G10, which is right, I'll go so fast. I always forget. Right there, red log, 3G10. Timeline is Rec 709 because we're converting it to a 709. And remember, we set our settings up for gamma 2.4. You can automatically see like some color here happening. So like before and after, before and after. So it's getting you to, the 709 color space. I always hide effects. What I like to do first, so option 4, my node 4 is where I start with my color space transform, and then I like to go straight to my white balance. If you look here, obviously we've got some clipping here, which is not ideal. We'll get on that in a second. But our white balance isn't terribly off, so some of this can be, personal preference, but it does look a little too cool to me. So when these lines start looking white, which they are there, then DaVinci's saying you're really close. What I'll always, well, I did that in the wrong tab. Did you see that? So if you don't have the correct tab or the node selected, the adjustments that you make will make it on the wrong node. So when you go in to fix it later or to micro adjust stuff, it won't match up because you've made those corrections in the wrong node. Okay, so like I said, we have some clipping here. We're already past 90 IRE, which I never want to be. That's why shooting RAW is such a grace. So R3D, if you don't know, the RAW tab is here, where the little camera and aperture looking wheel is here. Click that. Project settings always leave. Instead of project, it's clip. So click this, change it to clip, and automatically opens up all of these things. So knowing that I've already overexposed this clip, I'm going to go ahead and drop this by stop to 400. Some of these highlights are still a little too high for me. If you can see here in the waveform, it's still over 90. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop this to 200. And now we are in the safe zone. We're under 90. I wish it was a little closer to 80, but that's just the sky up here. There's not a lot I can do about that. And honestly, I'm a moody type of shooter, so like this typically is the kind of vibe that I'm going for. So now we have our rough exposure where we want it to be. And I did the same thing with my white balance. I changed it on the wrong tab, but you get the point. But here's the thing that I like to do. I always have to go to my LUT. If you're going to use a LUT, and I'm just going to grab one and just throw it on here. I'm just going to use this Leeming LUT that I have for Nikon. As you see, I double clicked it. It's on, off, on. If you're looking at this, like, I mean, my waveform just got crushed. Typically, I like to I'll do my exposure stuff after I've applied my LUT. But as you can tell, a lot of the stuff that I did with my exposure was with my ISO changing it in the RAW tab. So you saw I'm trying to reset it here. I'm trying to show you how to reset it. There's nothing to reset. It all happened in the RAW tab. So I'm going to reset this because I know that I did not change the white balance in the right place. So I'm just going to warm that up just a little bit. So what I like to do, if this is too much, we've destroyed it here, obviously. The way that you turn this back or dial this look back is if you hit the key here, this tab right here, like 2 boxes, come down to your key output and you start dragging this guy back. You can see it starting to come off a little bit. You can see the waveform adjusting as well. And you're starting to get that look that you wanted without it being overly done. I'm going to go to my exposures here. I'm going to just throw a couple points on my curve here. I'm just going to use that for my exposure tool real quick just to bring up some of those shadows. Some midtones a little bit, nothing crazy. Yeah, and I don't hate that. I mean, that's not what I would want my final look to be, but you get the idea. There it is without the LUT. The LUT brought it on down. Okay, so that's the red. That's the R3D file. So what would you do if you're shooting in NLOG and or NRAW, because NLOG is the color profile. It's the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do, just for simplicity, I'm going to copy all of the settings from my R3D file. And I'm going to paste them on my NLOG file. Well, obviously that's not the right color space. So let's fix that first. Let's go to our effects, make sure to have option 4, node 4 clicked here. From wide gamut, RGB, we're changing that to Rec 2020 because that is what this is shot in. There it is. And instead of red log, it's NLOG. I mean, I know this is self-explanatory, but that's it. That's all you got to change. You've got the same LUT on it. If you know that works for you, fantastic. If not, you can change it. But I mean, with and without the LUT. I like it with the LUT. I would just go back to my exposure. As you can see here, like our highlights are crushed. We do have a couple lots here that are, it's these greens, obviously on my, this is my iPad. That's getting a little out of whack. But I'm not real worried about that. You can go to the same tab for your Nikon RAW. The only difference when you select flip, you don't have the ISO option shooting in NRAW. That's sad, but it is what it is. You can change the color temperature if you want, and you know, adjust your white balance in here. I did a little bit. I'm going to bring up my shadows here in the RAW tab just a little bit, but I mean, I underexposed this unintentionally, but some of these shadows will crush. But that's it. I mean, you literally can change most everything in that color space transform and really get it to a good starting point. And that's how I edit everything. Lastly, well, two other things, I'm sorry. So I'm closing my LUTs tab. If you realize, like, I love this look. Like, I shoot a lot of this type of stuff. Maybe this is a project you're working on outside. You don't have a lot of lighting that's the same and a lot of colors and textures. You can open your gallery, come to power grade. I made one earlier, so I'm just going to delete it because I'm making a new one. Right click, grab still, and it automatically creates a power grade for this. So what does that mean? Okay, well, I'll just show you real quick. Imagine I had not edited any of these. I had made 0 adjustments. I had the one note, I guess. You can double click this and it automatically applies all of the settings that you just had on the other node, the colors that you like, to the next one. Then you can just micro adjust and make, you know, minor tweaks from there and still get to the same place really quickly. All right, lastly, export. You can name it whatever you want it to name it. Make sure you hit the browse button and send it where you want it to be so you don't lose it. You can find it when you need to. I never change any of these things. QuickTime H.264 is always fine for me. Sometimes I will change my timeline resolution if I know I'm sending it for a proof, or if I'm sending it for YouTube, or you know, if it's just living online. I may down sample that, or maybe I'll shoot it in 1080 and I'll upres it into 4K and then let the compression of YouTube destroy it on its own. You hit add to queue. It's asking me where to put it, but you would hit add to render queue, render all. It'll take a few minutes to render your video and you're done. That's my import settings, my timeline settings, my node settings, and my export settings, all in a kind of short-ish video. I hope that helped, Brian. Hope this helped you most. Hope it's a reference for somebody. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help. If you have tips and you think I missed something or something that would work better, let me know. That's what the comments are for. Let's have a conversation. I love that about this whole community. So hopefully someone got something out of that. Later, neighbor.